Check now the best anti-stress solution for your everyday life. Click the link in the description for your anti-stress solution.
India's PM Modi faces election test as voting begins in Uttar Pradesh. More than 13 million Indians voted in the first stage of state assembly elections on Saturday, the biggest electoral test for Prime Minister Narendra Modi since coming to power in 2014. The world's biggest election this year began in Uttar Pradesh, the first of 6 stages that will elect an assembly to govern the impoverished state of nearly 220 million people. Modi's nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, swept to victory in Uttar Pradesh 3 years ago, and the election in the state that follows the shore of the river Ganges will set the tone for the 2019 national elections. More broadly, voters will deliver a midterm verdict on Modi and his nationalist party after his decision to withdraw 86% of the cash in circulation. The banknote ban was launched by Modi 3 months ago to purge the economy of untaxed income and the proceeds of crime and corruption, and has disrupted daily life and commerce, and caused the economy to slow. On the campaign trail, Modi has said he had the interests of the poor at heart in making the move, his biggest gamble yet. The results will tell us whether Modi continues to enjoy unquestioned support or if it has started to erode, said R.K. Mishra, an independent political analyst based in the state capital, Lucknow. Amid tight security, voting was conducted in 73 constituencies of western Uttar Pradesh, where violence has erupted frequently over the last few years. Fighting between Hindus and Muslims killed about 65 people in 2013. In the town of Kirana, where residents came to blows last year when the local BJP MP accused Muslims of driving out Hindus, voters from both communities turned out in large numbers. By noon, nearly half of those eligible had cast their vote. Godzilla states, the BJP polled 42% of the vote in Uttar Pradesh in the 2014 election, winning 71 of 80 seats on its way to claiming India's biggest national mandate for 3 decades. But people have shown growing impatience that Modi's campaign promises of development and better days to come have failed to deliver new jobs in a state where per capita income averages less than $750 a year and many communities lack access to power, clean water and basic medical services. It is the Godzilla of states, said BJP national spokesman Nitin Kohli, as he looked out over the darkened streets of Lucknow one evening this week. People tend to vote along traditional caste and religious lines, and successive governments have exploited communal divisions to fire up their power base and poach voters. The situation gets very bad here sometimes. There is fighting between groups, between Hindus and Muslims, said Bhagwati Prasad, who sells material for Hindu cremation ceremonies outside a temple in Lucknow. I am a Hindu. If there is a Hindu-Muslim fight, I have to stand with the Hindus. The complexity of such politics makes it hard to predict outcomes in India's first-past-the-post system. Any party scoring significantly more than 30% can win by a landslide. Pollsters say it will be tough for the BJP to repeat its 2014 election performance. In not fielding for the post of chief minister, it risks repeating a tactical blunder that contributed to a heavy defeat in Bihar, another Hindi-speaking heartland state, in 2015. The Samajwadi Party, which runs Bihar and is led by 43-year-old Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav, won a majority in the last state election, in 2012, with just 29% of the vote. Yadav has formed an alliance with Rahul Gandhi of the Congress Party that, polls show, will be tough to beat. Ranking third, Mayawati, who ran the state from 2007 to 2012 and whose Bahujan Samaj Party draws its support from communities on the bottom rung of India's ancient caste hierarchy. She has fielded a big crop of candidates from the Muslim minority that makes up 19% of the state's electorate. Polls show most Muslims siding with the ruling Samajwadi Party Congress alliance. Greece says bailout deal close, but will not accept illogical demands. Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras said on Saturday he believed the country's drawn-out bailout review would be completed positively, but repeated that Athens would not accept illogical demands by its lenders. He warned all sides to be more careful towards a country that has been pillaged and people who have made, and are continuing to make, so many sacrifices in the name of Europe. Greece and its international lenders made clear progress on Friday toward bridging differences over its fiscal path in coming years, moving closer to a deal that would secure new loan disbursements and save the country from default. The review will be completed, and it will be completed positively, without concessions in matters of principle, Tsipras told a meeting of his leftist Syriza party. Reaching agreement would release another tranche of funds from its latest €86 billion bailout, and facilitate Greece making a major €7.2 billion debt repayment this summer. European and International Monetary Fund lenders want Greece to make €1.8 billion, or 1% of GDP, worth of new reforms by 2018 and another €1.8 billion after then, and the measures would be focused on broadening the tax base and on pension cutbacks. But further cutbacks, particularly to pensions which have already gone through 11 cuts since the start of the crisis in 2010, are hard to sell to a public worn down after years of austerity. Representatives of Greece's lenders are expected to return to Athens this week to report on whether Greece has complied with the second batch of reforms agreed under the current bailout, its third. We are ready to discuss anything within the framework of the bailout agreement and within reason, but not things beyond the framework of the agreement and beyond reason, Tsipras said. We will not discuss demands which are not backed up by logic and by numbers, he said. Tsipras accused the IMF, with which it has had testy relations since its first bailout in 2010, of being cowardly, and of coming up with new demands for Greece, absurd, imaginary, unreal. It doesn't matter, as long as it is made to look like Greece is to blame for the already agreed decision of the fund to not finance the third Greek bailout. The IMF has sat on the sidelines of the latest bailout program and says it cannot participate in a program which could keep Greece in a never-ending cycle of indebtedness that could push national borrowing to 275% of economic output by 2060. I don't know if the review will be completed with the IMF having a central funding role, or a different role, but the review will be completed because significant uncertainty about fiscal policy under Trump, Fed's Fisher. U.S. Federal Reserve Vice Chair Stanley Fisher said there was significant uncertainty about U.S. fiscal policy under the Trump administration, but the Fed would be strict in meeting targets of creating full employment and getting inflation to 2%. Speaking at the World Economics Summit on Saturday, Fisher also said he thought Dodd-Frank financial regulation would not be repealed as a whole, and he hoped capital requirements for banks would not be significantly reduced. There is quite significant uncertainty about what's actually going to happen. I don't think anyone quite knows. It's a process which involves both the administration and the Congress in deciding fiscal policy, Fisher said, in response to a question. At the moment we're going strictly according to what we see as our responsibility according to the law, which is maintaining full employment and getting inflation to 2%. He also said he thought Dodd-Frank banking regulation legislation would not be repealed, though there may be some adjustments. I don't think Dodd-Frank as a whole is going to be repealed, but there may be some adjustments to it, he said. Significantly reducing capital requirements would reduce the safety of the system. I certainly hope it's not going to happen. Dodd-Frank financial regulation was passed in 2010 after the financial crisis of 2008-09, and included legislation requiring banks to maintain higher levels of capital. Fisher also mentioned adjustments to Dodd-Frank could include being less demanding of community banks. The comments came the day after the Federal Reserve Board's top bank regulator, Daniel Tarullo, said he would resign, giving a boost to President Donald Trump's plans to ease reforms put in place after the 2008-09 financial crisis. Trump last week ordered reviews of major banking rules that were put in place after the 2008 financial crisis, drawing fire from Democrats and sending banking stocks higher on expectations.
If you'd like to receive more news on our YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button. If you like to receive an alert every time a new upload is made, hit the bell. Give us a like to the video or dislike if you agree or not to the news. Be proactive. Is your life and the news will serve your day. Finally, leave us your opinion in the comment section on what you think about the subject. Thank you and stay tuned to Breaking News 24.